This is News 10 at 6 o'clock.
No, he did it. I knew the very day that I heard my daughter was dead that he did it.
Isabel Zanta reacts to an apparent break in her daughter's murder 21 years after the crime.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Brennan.
And I'm Angela Hampton. It was one of the most infamous crimes in this area in recent memory. 21 years ago this month, Schenectady High School student Susan Zanta was found murdered in the town of Argyle, Washington County.
And reporter Dan Levy joins us now from the newsroom to tell us Zanta's alleged killer may soon come to justice. Dan?
Jim, Susan Zanta's body hadn't even been found yet when Kenneth Yarder was arrested for her murder in July 1974. He allegedly confessed, but 3 years later, a court ruled that the alleged confession was coerced, so Yarder was set free. But now Yarder reportedly will face new murder charges. At a time when this nation was thinking about impeaching its president, a 16-year-old high school girl from Schenectady named Susan Zanta was vacationing with friends at Casiuna Lake. Her disappearance touched off a massive search. It led to the arrest of then 23-year-old Kenneth Yarder, an ex-football and basketball player at Argyle High School, who lived in this trailer just 200 yards from where Zanta disappeared. Her body was found the last weekend of July 1974. And now, after spending time in prisons around the country, Kenneth Yarder reportedly will be extradited to Washington County to face murder charges.
I am certain he is the right man. There was a meeting of the grand jury, so if there is a grand jury, there has to be evidence.
Washington County District Attorney Robert Wynn says he cannot comment on grand jury action, but a source in the Nevada Attorney General's office, where Yarder is currently serving time, tells News 10 that Wynn has asked for custody of Yarder. That's welcome news to Isabel Zanta.
I just had that faith. I had that reassurance that someday it would come about, and it did. She was cheated out of a beautiful life, college, and I see her girlfriends marry and have children, and it's like her life, she was so young and just was cheated. And the older you get, sometimes the worse it is. I feel I miss her more than I ever did.
Isabel Zanta says she wrote a victim's impact statement a very long time ago, and she says she's looking forward to the day when she can stand in court, look her daughter's killer in the face, and say what she has to say to him, Jim.
Well, Dan, when might that happen? What's the timeline on Yarder coming back to the area?
It's a good question. We tried to get the answer to that question today. Sources in Nevada tell us that Robert Wynn requested Yarder's return last April. Obviously, he's not here yet. Robert Wynn says he can't comment about it, but the people in Nevada tell us that they have no problem with sending Kenneth Yarder here to Washington County. It's just a matter of time.
All right. Thanks very much, Dan.
A jury has convicted a former Massachusetts priest on charges he sexually abused 2 teenage boys. The verdict came down in a Worcester courtroom late this afternoon. The jury convicted Joseph Fredette on 3 charges involving incidents with 2 teenage boys at a halfway house he ran in the late 1970s. Fredette was acquitted on 2 other charges. Police reopened this case after a story here on News 10 3 years ago. Police tracked Fredette down in Canada and brought him back for trial. A local teen who admitted planting a bottle bomb on the lawn of another teen will be spending some time behind bars. 16-year-old Irving Curtis of Loudonville was sentenced today to 6 months at the Albany County Jail and 5 months probation. The judge would not treat Irving as a youthful offender because of the nature of the crime. Police say the bomb could have killed anyone within 15 to 20 feet of the explosion.
An emotional thank you from an Albany woman to a city firefighter today. Bob Cook pulled the woman to shelter after she was shot during last Friday's bizarre incident involving a naked gunman. Cook did all this after himself being shot in the leg. Today, both shared a warm reunion. News 10's Tom Schaad was the only reporter there. He brings you his exclusive story.
My life. Okay. It's all right. How you feeling?
All right. I'm sore yet. I guess I will.
You're going to be all right, though, huh?
Mm-hmm.
For a few moments, Laura Mallory forgot the burning pain in her left leg when she met a man she calls a hero. Bob Cook, the Albany firefighter who dragged Mallory to safety after she was shot in the leg Friday night. Cook, along with fellow firefighter Frank Romano and Deputy Chief Warren Abriel, paid her a mid-morning visit at Albany Med.
Well, I didn't know why you were yelling. I heard you yelling as if your leg was sore and whatnot, but I didn't realize.
I didn't realize it got shot. You got shot. I thought I'd stepped in like an exploding thing or something. a firecracker at first, and then all of a sudden he comes through the fence, and then he got shot. He said, "I've been shot." And I thought, "Oh, Jesus, that's what happened."
A weird story with a near fatal ending. Cook and Mallory both shot by a naked man who allegedly set the fire Cook responded to on Maple Avenue. When firefighters answer a call, they face a deadly risk of fighting the fire, not bullets. But call Cook a hero?
No, I don't feel like a hero. I didn't do anything that none of the other guys wouldn't have done. It just happened to be that I got there first. I guess I was the unlucky one.
A luckier man was Frank Romano, also on the scene Friday night, working close to Cook. He escaped injury.
I don't like the idea of getting shot at. I don't, fire or nothing like that, but, the way things are today, you never could tell.
Firefighters never really know what to expect, both at the scene and afterwards. Tom Schaad, News 10, reporting to you from Albany.
Bob Cook returned to work today. Laura Mallory remains in fair condition at Albany Med. She had leg surgery yesterday.
State officials took the wraps off plans to revitalize New York's canal system today, but Governor Pataki is not pleased about the financing. Thruway Authority Chairman Peter Tufo stood on the banks of the Mohawk River in Waterford to announce the $146 million project. Waterford is one of 8 sites statewide that would benefit. Plans call for riverboat boating.
The plan will enhance the village riverfront, linking attractions and encouraging the development of retail, service, and restaurant space within the village.
Now, that project would create an estimated 2,700 jobs statewide. Tufo says money for the project would come from throughway tolls, federal grants, and private interests, but a spokesman for Governor Pataki calls the funding plan shaky. More players have entered the high-stakes game to land a $6 million GM locomotive assembly plant. Albany and Saratoga counties are making proposals, and Rensselaer County today put the finishing touches on its plan. But as News 10's Tracy Egan reports, there are some others working very hard to land the plant at the original site in Glenville.
88. Now doing this for the young folks.
Ida Piotrowski has collected more than 1,500 signatures in Glenville from people like Jody Powers.
Well, I just think it'd bring some more jobs around here, that's all.
The 88-year-old will sell 22 acres of her 300-acre farm as a plant site. And while she's being paid $30,000 an acre, she says it's not profit that makes her fight opposition to the plant. It's because she wants to see young people land jobs at the GM assembly plant.
I've been here 65 years on this property, and I like to leave a good memory before I go.
George Robertson of the Schenectady Economic Development Council says Ida is leading a groundswell of local support for locating the GM plant in Glenville. Robertson, who spent 2.5 years laying the groundwork that led GM and Super Steel to select Schenectady, is appalled that other communities are so eager to take advantage of the discord that could make GM move elsewhere.
Well, I think it's a feeding frenzy. I think it's not the kind of atmosphere in which companies make business decisions.
But Super Steel told us today that GM doesn't have to be in Schenectady. Getting the plant built in a timely fashion is the first priority. Another thing that drew Super Steel and GM to this region was the fact that it was impressed by modern welding school, which is turning out the kind of workforce it needs.
They felt rather comfortable knowing they'd be able to place, get welders for the facility.
Ida is certainly not going to let GM pull out of Glenville without a fight, but she realizes that unless the opponents drop their opposition to the Glenville site, it's likely that GM will follow the path of least resistance in locating the assembly plant that could provide jobs for the next 2 or 3 decades. Tracy Egan, News 10, reporting to you from Glenville.
And tonight, the Schenectady County Board is expected to pass a resolution supporting locating the GM assembly plant in Glenville.
Next on News 10, a computer accessory for couch potatoes.
Reporting to you, Jim Brennan, Angela Hampton, meteorologist Steve Caporizzo, Dan Murphy on sports. Stay with us as News 10 at 6 o'clock continues.
News 10 at 6 o'clock is brought to you by Nobody Beats the Wiz.
As we first told you at 5:30, President Clinton took a historic step today, announcing he's normalizing diplomatic relations with Vietnam. But Albany Times Union columnist Fred LeBrun says there are still questions to be answered. Fred has one man's opinion.
The Vietnam War Memorial at the Empire State Plaza. The mute witnesses. 20 years ago, we fled Vietnam, and today, President Clinton says we shall have normal relations with this country. We will recognize Vietnam. It will join Germany, Japan, Korea in recent memory. Our enemies, no longer our enemies. But for some reason, Vietnam still holds that awful core of distrust and controversy. It split the country then. It's emotionally never come to closure. But is there any really good reason, substantial reason, not to recognize Vietnam? No. The enemy is the past. The clock goes one way, and we have to forgive. We'll never forget. These names will always be here to remind us. There's one issue that still gets us very hard and close to the gut, and it's the missing in action question. 55 people still the hardcore unresolved. President Clinton says by normalizing relations, we have a better chance of finding out what happened to these people. That may be the best reason to grant Vietnam status. Fred LeBrun for News 10.
And you can respond to Fred or any of our other stories by calling our tips line at 1-800-888-WTEN.
In Money News tonight, just when you thought technology could not move any faster, it does. Packard Bell has unveiled a radical line of new home computers designed to fit into tight corners or narrow tabletops. They all come with a remote control mouse that allows the computer to operate televisions, telephones, and stereos. The models will begin arriving in stores later this month. Also tonight, members of the Public Employees Federation have approved their new 4-year contract with New York State. Stocks on Wall Street fell back a bit today.
Analysts say traders will continue on profits after the market's recent run-up. We'll be right back.
News 10 at 6 o'clock is brought to you by Price Choppers Supermarkets.
Now, meteorologist Steve Caporizzo with News 10 Doppler Weather.
Some wild weather in our area this afternoon and this evening.
Not here in Albany, but I'll tell you, the folks that live out in Berkshire County, they're getting bounced around and banged around pretty bad tonight. So get right into things. First of all, quiet here. We need the rain. We're not just not getting it here in the Albany area. We have mostly cloudy skies. Temperature 79 degrees, humidity 43% with the barometer rising, a northeast wind at 7 miles per hour. The high today, 82. The record high, 98, 1936. It was 59 this morning. And the record low temperature, 48, dates back to 1986. Now, I'll tell you something. We had a weak front move into central New York this afternoon. This thing really fired off some heavy-duty showers and thunderstorms. You can see that on the satellite loop. Watch these thunderstorms flare up. In fact, you can see the tops of these thunderstorms blowing off with these strong winds aloft. And that's usually the case when you get big thunderstorms. You have a lot of wind aloft, very unstable situation. Let's close in on radar. And here's the storm we're talking about. Produced a lot of golf ball-sized hail in extreme southeastern Rensselaer County and also in the city of Pittsfield. Now tracking south-southeast. More on that in just a little bit. Also showers and thunderstorms still scattered about the southern Adirondacks, moving southward, and a big thunderstorm in eastern Delaware and western Greene County. So again, this area, and just to the northwest of Albany, the greatest threat of showers and thunderstorms. And again, if you live in the southern Berkshires, these communities in particular are most vulnerable to this violent storm with large hail. Monterey, West Otis, New Marlboro, and South Sandusfield as that storm tracks down into northwestern Connecticut. Expect hail, high winds, torrential rain, severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 7 o'clock tonight, until 6:30 over in Hampden County, Massachusetts. A watch is in effect, which still means there's a potential for severe weather in eastern New York and western New England until 8 o'clock tonight. Here are the temperatures, 70s and lower 80s further to the west. A little bit cooler with the temperatures in the 60s over towards Boston. Here's that huge heat wave in the Midwest, and guess what? It is heading eastward. Tomorrow's going to be a great day with lots of sunshine and low humidity temperatures in the 80s. Then the jet stream takes a turn to the north, and when this happens, the heat and humidity begins to build northeastward. So dust off the old air conditioners. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to need them. They'll be working overtime for a few days. All right, forecast, it looks like this. shower thunderstorm this evening, clearing out later tonight, 50s. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny, low humidity, 81 to 86. Tomorrow's going to be a nice day. If you have yard work, tomorrow's a comfortable day. Few clouds tomorrow night, 60 to 65. Thursday, hazy, hot, humid, temperatures up near 90. Vermont and the Berkshires, a shower or thunderstorm, then clearing 50 to 55. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny, 78 to 83. Here's your 5-day forecast. The heat wave goes right into the weekend in the 90s. Sunday, it may be a tad cooler with a chance of a thunderstorm and 88. I'd like to say hello to some friends of mine. I was up in Saratoga County today at the Saratoga County ARC. Had a great time visiting with all the folks there, and you just saw Carol. She's my biggest fan. Carol, how are you? I'd like to thank Bonnie Winslow for having me up there, and all the folks. They made me feel right at home. We had a great time, and I want to show you what they made for me. Now, they know I love dogs and cats. They gave me this T-shirt with dogs and cats on it, and I have their handprints on the back of my T-shirt.
With all their names, that's great.
And all their names. So now I can identify everybody out there. Just show me your hand and I know who you are.
Right.
Thank you so much. Great time today.
All right. See you in a
Thanks,
little bit.
Steve. Okay.
Well, coming up next in sports, Mickey Mantle talks about his life-saving surgery. Murph has that when we come back.
After sports, a summer camp for kids who all share something different in tonight's Children First.
Children First is brought to you by the MVP Health Plan.